Respected Professor G.D. Sharma, respected Professor Sanjeev Kumar Sharma, our dynamic General Secretary, Professor Jayant Mahapatraji, the former Vice Chancellor of Behrampur University and our mentor, then Professor Tandavan, who has been my teacher in Madras University where I studied and a mentor. I thank him, but for his blessings and good wishes, I wouldn't have gone to JNU. So in a large way, he has been very important. He has known me since my school days. If most of you know, he was a brilliant debater in Tamil, and I used to do debates in English. So that's how we met very early when he was in Pachepas College and I was in school. So I welcome you, sir, and I thank you for coming to the 59th All India Political Science Conference. Dr. M. Nazir Hussain and Sri Maqboolul Haq, whom I think who has made this university. Sir, you are indeed rare to society. I would call you a philanthropist, educationist, because very many philanthropists must follow your path, because educational institutions require a lot of participation from private donors. And I really congratulate you for building such a beautiful institution, which is not very easy from very humble beginnings. And thank you for inviting us to one of the most beautiful parts of the country. Respected academic advisor to the government of Assam, Professor Nani Gopal Mahanta. Nani is a very popular name for Telugus. We have a very famous actor called Nani. So I was just telling him that. And his speech, when he said stepmotherly treatment, it ringed ears to somebody coming from Tamil Nadu. Because that is what we keep saying to the central government. And now I would not be reading the speech because I have been asked by the secretary to be brief. So all of you have got my speech. I would only say, Ellarkum Vanakkam, Andarki Namaskaram. It gives me a great pleasure to be amidst you all in this August academic event as part of the 59th All India Political Science Conference. I'm so happy that in the 84 years of IPSA, the present secretary has tried to bring in gender equality. I'm the third president. The second woman president is with us, Professor Sushma Yadav. So I thank you, sir, for being a feminist yourself. The vibrant get-together of scholars from across India is also a testimony to the enormous scholarship generated by the various departments of political science, international relations, and other allied disciplines in our country. See, the major issue that I want to place before you is, if you see to a large extent, the questions raised by Dr. Nani on the issue of both citizenship. Who is a citizen? Do we want cultural nationalism or civic nationalism? Or the both can be blended. Because the Indic civilization believes in the concept of ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti. Truth may be one, but there are several parts to it. So part of our whole concept of unity has the concept of diversity in it. The celebration of cultural diversity is our strength, not our weakness. So this is the one major point I want to place before most of you. The other thing I want to tell both old and young political scientists is, it is time that India, which is claiming to be a civilizational state, not a nation state. We are the only civilizational state, along with China, to enter the fourth industrial revolution. China is creating a narrative for itself and norm building. India is yet to do this norm building and narratives. So it is extremely important if we want to say the rise of incredible India. It is not only in Atmanirbhar, in economy, in production, but in ideas. in building narratives and in building frameworks. This is what is main, because norms thus decide the genesis of any civilization. In its turn, it spreads to faraway areas in the forms of economic, political, and cultural imperialism. Thus, it can be stated that India has been having norms not from 1947, but as a civilization itself. It is here that I call upon you to construct narratives for India as an incredible civilizational state. And being from the south of the country, I want to take, I have in one of my earlier papers written on the Cholas, the greatest dynasty that ruled India. Please, I don't know how many of you know, like the Ahoms in Assam, we have what is called the Cholas. So what is it that I want to place before you through the, idea of norms? The first is the idea of what we call the definitional problems of a civilizational state. Meaning, how would you define dharma? Somehow I'm against all the Hindi linguists who equate religion to dharma. I think it's very inadequate, and I would call upon all Hindi specialists and linguists to look upon the idea of dharma from religion per se. The second is basically I would see what is it that is unique about India. The uniqueness of India as a civilization is assimilation. Meaning whoever comes in, whosever ideas, irrespective, we assimilate. You have the Bhakti movement, which assimilated a lot from Sufi Islam. So the question is, can we have a separate model from the binary model of the West, or the dichotomous framework of either or? If you're with God, you're with Satan. If you're not with God, you're with Satan. Whereas in India, you don't have that concept. Take a character like Ravana. He is only an anti-hero with a single major characteristic flaw. So the question is, he is not a villain. He is a great Shiva Bhakta who wrote the Shiva Thandav Shota. So when you burn his image during Dashara, the South Indians are not very happy about it. So I want to tell people culturally how diverse we are. And finally, I would like to finish up with the model I would think is one of the narratives that we can make, and that is the book written by the famed Ananda Kumaraswamy called The Dance of Shiva. Most of you know the highlight of the Indian civilization is the dance of Lord Shiva. In its ancient form, and ante-Sheshan worshipped Shiva and prayed above all things for the boon, once more to behold this mystic dance. Shiva promised that he should behold the dance again in sacred Tillai, the center of the universe. And most of you know the Chidambaram temple, which holds it in Tamil Nadu. That is the only place where you have Shiva in the form of Nataraja. This dance of Shiva in Chidambaram or Tillai forms is extremely important. Why do I say it? Because if we are constructing a civilizational narrative, this is one narrative that I will tell you to represent. What does this narrative bring in? First, what I call the Panchamrit of this narrative, like the Modi model of Panchamrits. One is the Panchakriya. First, Shrishti, overlooking creation and evolution. If most of you look at the Ukraine crisis, you can put it into this model. Or even the COVID, who expected it to come? So the second is the Ishishti, preservation and support. Third, Samhara, destruction and evolution. Tribhava, wheeling, embodiment, illusion, and also giving rest. And last, Anugraha, release, salvation, and grace. These separately are the activities of the Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra. So the cosmic activity is the central motif of this dance. Unmai Vilakam, verse 36 tells us, creation arises from the drum. Protection proceeds from the hand of hope, and fire proceeds destruction. The foot held aloft gives release. It will be observed that the fourth hand points to this lifted foot, the refuge of the soul. This legendary argument that Lord Shiva's dance has been highlighted as the universal civilizational trait by the Cholas, one of the greatest empires which ruled the Indo-Pacific and also defeated the Chinese, a great maritime power of its own time. So what I would end here saying that let us use such narratives which would greatly enhance a shared value system which includes the acceptance of international norms, the existence of institutional mechanisms for the resolution of conflicts, and the issues of borderlands and the issue of citizenship. And also, if you see, to a large extent, the Indian tradition has also looked upon values like individualism, spiritualism, universalism, tolerance, and brotherhood. And this is where I would request most of you to use your regional narratives, maybe in Assam, on their homes, how they defeated the Mughals 17 times. We don't even know it in history. This needs a paradigm shift. So finally, I thank the Indian Political Science Association and all its members of giving me an opportunity to serve you. Thank you so much. Vanakkam, namaskaram.